Let's turn our attention to Iraq now, because we're getting word that the United States is now actively considering a brand new military base in Iraq, specifically in the oil-rich regions, according to sources this morning. The media suggesting that the United States chose Al Jazeera area to construct its military base due to its large oil and gas fields, according to these sources. Now, the United States is apparently monitoring widely one of the western regions of Iraq's Al Anbar province to build its second military base in the province. And this is where Iraqi security apparently revealed this, because local media sources were saying, well, this is what's happening now. And the media suggested that the U.S. chose this spot to construct its military bases due to its large oil and gas fields, as well as all of its other mines that are nearby. But of course, so weren't we supposed to be gone? Wasn't that the idea that the Iraq war is over, that we are home?
Which
we've come
one?
Home?
We've had 3.
But no, of course we never left. As we pointed out on this show before, we've never left, right?
In a country we were never supposed to invade in the first place.
No.
And we invaded based on a lie in the first place. Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
We invade and kill millions of people in their country for a lie, over a lie, that they had anything to do with 9/11. And we absolutely know that wasn't the case.
Oh, that's the second time you're talking about Iraq War
I can't
II.
keep track of them.
Okay.
I just can't keep track
The
of them.
first one was also based on a lie.
Right. Oh, yeah. The first one was based on a lie.
Troops along the border of Kuwait
Babies
was a lie.
Babies in incubators.
Yes.
Out of it. Yeah. The whole thing. Right.
Yes.
Lie. So according to reports, the area is one of Iraq's completely safe regions and has not witnessed any attacks for a long time. So that's why they chose this. But of course, they also chose it for the massive amount of oil, the massive amount of mines that are there, and the minerals that are there. An expert on Iraq security issues had previously pointed out that the continued presence of the U.S. occupation troops in Iraq is aimed at supporting Washington's interests and backing terrorism. So what's amazing about this is we got sources that told us directly that they have been recently deployed. And I've heard this from other sources as well, that troops have been called up and are being actively deployed to Iraq as late as
recently as February
and March of this year. So new American troops heading to Iraq for the purposes of either staffing up this new military base or sort of forward operations in order to be there ahead of time.
Yeah.
But this is incredibly troubling. Why are we going back to Iraq? Why are we stepping up our position in Iraq? For oil? For minerals? So that's why we're going to put American soldiers in harm's way. We're going to take Americans and put them in a military base in Iraq, a country we do not belong, have killed millions of people, and we're going to go there so that we can exploit their oil and their minerals.
Presumably.
I mean, what else? What other reason is there?
To maybe thwart Russian interference or Russian influence in that region, to thwart Chinese influence in that region, to thwart Arab nationalistic
Iranian influence in that region.
Definitely, or to I'm not sure. There's a lot of different reasons.
Well, we've already been staffing up in Iraq anyway and stealing Syria's oil and then funneling it into Iraq, where then we exploit it for ourselves in the United States. So it's already been a big staging ground for what we steal out of Syria and these other spots, and then funnel it through Iraq. But it's of course worth noting that most of the weapons that we left, I mean, tens of billions of dollars in weapons in Afghanistan, and tens of billions of dollars have gone into Ukraine in weaponry. And many of these weapons are showing up in Iraq. They're showing up in Afghanistan. They're showing up in Africa. So they're showing up in the exact places that we then are putting new military outposts. We're building new military outposts in Syria and Yemen and Africa and in Iraq. Why? To combat terrorists. The very terrorists that we fund. We basically hand them our weapons. We turn them over to them and give them these weapons. And then we start another war. We put more Americans in harm's way because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then we also have the nerve to say, and they stole the weapons. They went on our base and they stole the weapons. So then there's the narrative that people get behind, like, oh, they stole them, we need to go after them.
Yeah. So they stole them, now that we have to go after them, and that it keeps the cycle going, right? And then the military makes more money. The military makes more money and continues this vicious cycle of us funneling weapons in, and then the military industrial complex making all kinds of money on this.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on that because this is a sequel that we do not want to see, is another Iraq war.
Well, and we don't need another military base. We just last night on the show talked about the 754 military bases we have around the world. Now we're going to build a second one in Iraq. This is exactly what we, anyway, again, this is why they attack us. Like, you want to know why they end up,
absolutely.
This is exactly why they attack us. This is, say what you want about anything, but Osama bin Laden specifically said, because we were building a military base in Saudi Arabia, that's why they wanted to attack us.
Yes. And did you know that the nightclub shooting in Orlando, that person had cried out when he had hostages saying, I'm doing this here because I am tired of seeing all of the women and children being bombed in my home country.
And he
was a Middle Eastern, I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say he was Libyan or Syrian. I'm sorry, this fact escapes me. But when people who were held hostage by him told this to the media, they ignored that and instead went with the narrative that he was some kind of closeted homosexual who was sort of anti-gay. He wasn't actually. He had said that, he had aimed for Disneyland, but there was too much security, so he just chose a random bar. Now, of course, that's not an excuse. That's absolutely terrible. But that is the rally cry that rallies up people in those regions when they just can't stand seeing their country, their villages, women and children bombed, starving, terrorized. It becomes a recruitment tool for Al-Qaeda and their spin-off societies.
Yeah, and then the media ignored that part of the story.
Absolutely, they did. They just made it to seem like a gay hate crime, and it wasn't. The guy was married. He didn't know what he was going into, and he was screaming about, like, this happens to us, And again, I'm not saying that nobody deserves that, but this is a narrative that we as Americans deserve to hear, so that maybe we could say, we absolutely don't want to be doing that. We don't want that to happen here, and we don't want that to happen there. We want not here, not there. Nowhere, Sam I Am.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.